I am Dungeon Master, your guide in the realm of Dungeons and Dragons.
All right, thank you for joining us with another Valoris Tantibus Afterdark. We are at session 11, Endemic. When last we left our group, they have met the caretaker of this place. They're not exactly quite sure. Is it a tomb? Is it a library? Uncertain, but this individual seems to hold a lot of answers. They're in a large room after dealing with many incidences in their past, hoping not to become their present. We find them face to face with this caretaker. All right, you guys have the floor. If I remember correctly, Caspian had asked a question?
I think so.
Does Caspian remember that question?
I think I had said, how much do you know about the state of Valoris right now?
Indeed. Let me see if I can find that same effect. The dwarven gentleman looks up at you. And he had said, I will tell you everything that I know about Valoris.
It is a city in chaos, turmoil, but it has not always been so. It used to be a great haven for the original kings.
Who are these original kings they speak?
Come now, Master Dwarf. You can feel their presence, scraping at the edges, cracking through. Large, bestial creatures, children's tales. And you.
Kind of stares over in your direction, Vic.
Is it Vic that you go by now? I would think you would be intimately familiar.
Not much more than the children's tales, I'm afraid.
But I get ahead of myself. I believe I offered you a deal. I will answer 5 questions. Assuming you complete a small task.
Is this a situation where anything we ask is gonna count? As in, you won't give us any information unless we do the task?
Are you asking the DM or are you asking the character?
Partly
Both?
but
Okay.
mostly in character.
The DM's going to tell you he's not going to answer frivolous questions. He would answer something to the effect of, don't waste my time or yours. The reason, again, he obviously is a keeper of a lot of forgotten or lost knowledge. So it could be advantageous if you ask the correct questions. However, you don't know what task or what he wants from you. It may be a bad deal. Who knows?
Indeed, and unless my fellows remember differently, I will admit I'm still very confused at what we were sent in here to accomplish by the mother.
Sorry, was that a DM question again?
No, that was partly to the group.
Okay. I have no problem rehashing because a lot has happened in the last 3 weeks or so.
Well, if I recall correct, she sent us here to find armaments for Hero of the City, and instead we find this dwarf.
Well, we did find armaments as well, but seems to be an inclination now that this has all just been a test.
That would be the safe assumption.
Not that I'm one to turn my nose up at information, even if it doesn't come freely. I'm still not sure exactly how anything we've done here is supposed to help this champion.
Well, dear, I don't think there quite is a champion. I think this whole thing has just been a test of us for her services.
The machinations of the gods are not something I pretend to understand. I just follow along.
Well, in my experience, I haven't been led so far astray without good reason.
Aye. We were sent here for a reason. We might as well hear him out and see what it is that he actually wants us for.
Master,
In the worst case scenario, we say no.
Master Dwarf, you can consider this a question if you so desire, but may I ask what relationship you have to the one who sent us in here?
He kind of eyes you up and down.
I am not a god. Not yet. So, no relation there. However, if the world comes to an end, all my pressing, all my power will be for naught. And I know something of your celestial mother. She fears the Golden Emperor, and rightly so. But not him directly. For there is another. One that has come before, yet has yet to arrive.
Slightly cryptic there.
Yep, slightly.
Oh, perhaps this would better serve us. Vic, Valduran, do any of you have questions that you're burning to get answered?
Well, if he is as old as he says he is, perhaps in answer to the question, what became of those kings of old?
Finally, something worth my skill. When he came to this world, a great power already existed. Not the gods or the kami, but the great kings of old. Dragons, the common folk would call them. The Golden Emperor knew they were too powerful if they were to unite. Sealed them away he has. But his power is cracking at the seams. The archway, I feel it sway. Crack, bend, and break. They're coming.
Well, I can't deny that the archway's been damaged by recent events pretty badly. Know you of the foe that we seek, wise one?
That's a very broad subject.
I don't know how insightful he is to us and our cause yet. Has he been stalking us? Yada yada.
Yeah, so he's going to answer it this way.
Though not the one you should solely be concerned with. Yes, I believe the Vulpine one still tries to track you down. Destroyed something precious of theirs, I think. It's hard to tell. Time is not an exact thing. But I imagine you will meet again. Under unfortuitous circumstance.
Before we press on with further questions, perhaps it would be wise to discuss the matter of payment.
I believe the payment is these answers.
Or do you mean his payment?
His payment.
Oh.
Gotcha.
Although you not think me goodly, I do not want to see this world perish. I wish to see it to the end. 2 more bastions of power still are in play. One in Dynast, one in Kabuto. They must not fall. This I charge you.
That is your idea of a small task?
Who better than the ones who seek knowledge, who speak freely, openly, when being repressed? You have a chance. You have the burning desires in your hearts.
And no, that's no small task. You saw what happened to the last one.
I'll turn to the others and just say, well, I've lived here all my life. I can't say I would even know where to begin helping the other two. I don't even know what's going on there.
No, I can't say that I do either.
2 ways exist.
Well, perhaps this will aid in some clarity. Those we seek, the Nagpa, we have reason to believe that their machinations are responsible for some of the problems that are in our city. Are they responsible for other problems on the continent?
Not solely. A great many things. The great wheel spins. Oh, how it spins. Directly, indirectly, they've had a claw in it.
But indeed, by pursuing our vendetta against them, might we not do good for the whole of Tantibus and Valoris as itself?
You will have your revenge against the Nakba when 5 becomes 6.
Caspian will just count his companions. Are we recruiting?
By my recollection, lost one you have.
Indeed, but also gained one, and I'll turn towards the dwarf.
Well, Voldurin, do you have any circus skills?
Well,
Bearded lady.
I mean, I would not want to sell myself short and kind of can't think of words at the moment.
Nobody has any burning questions?
I have some. I don't know if I want to ask them of him, though.
Turn to the others. Perhaps inquiring about the mind flayers might be worthwhile as well. What their goals are.
Yeah, I can see how that would be helpful, but I don't know. So, from the sounds of things, we're going to take his bargain anyway.
Kind of already have, haven't you?
Yeah,
I assume so. Yeah.
if we received payment, it would be kind of dickish for us not to.
It is a worthy goal, certainly, and though I'm not exactly thrilled with the idea of working alongside the undead, I suppose, the enemy of my enemy, as they say.
Why you think me an enemy?
Well, I just suspect that our goals will run counter to each other at some point.
Do you not wish Valoris saved?
Yes, but I have the sneaking suspicion that you wish it saved so you can rule over it.
I have no desire to rule. Only to collect.
And what is it that you collect?
Knowledge. Past. Future. Present.
Well, I find it a nice hearty coincidence that our foes, are the Nagpa, are also quite known as collectors.
Yes, because they are. Only forgotten, discarded knowledge shall they ever touch. Bear witness.
He snaps his finger. I'm not going to put up icons, but you can see the rows upon rows, shelf upon shelf of books just materialize in just about every corner covering this room, save for a few spots where you guys can kind of continue to parlay. Not only does he manifest all of these books, you can see in front there's a small shelf that's been pulled out. Parchment has been stacked high, and quills that are just kind of floating, dancing in the air, every so often dipping into a reservoir filled of black ink, then back to the page, constantly scribing.
Well, it certainly puts any library I've been into to shame.
A chronicler of history, you are.
Not
What?
history. Knowledge.
For what purpose do you go through all of this?
I seek to prevent a great catastrophe. One that has already happened, set in motion, prevented it can be.
And preserving the seals in these cities will help forestall that catastrophe.
Buy us time. Time to kill the Golden Emperor.
This calamity, does it have any relation to the primer of the Fallen First?
Did he send you after it?
Not myself, but others.
Know of this tome I do. Back
Seems
to
the
front.
Nagpie after it as well.
Have I read its pages? Nearly accurate it is. Do you want to have it fall in mortal hands?
I'd rather have it fall in no one's hands if there's a choice.
It is safe for now.
Okay, 2 questions for DM.
1.5 answers.
All right. So, just to be clear for in-universe knowledge, is the Golden Emperor still being alive? Like, would that be shocking to members of Valoris?
It sounds ridiculous, but it's not uncommon that people think that he's immortal. But
Okay.
nobody's like, oh yeah, I just saw him yesterday. Like, no, he's been far removed for ages.
He's down
Ran
at the
into
pub.
him at the pub. Yeah, oh god, both had the same thought.
We were
He's
sharing a
bench pressing
pint.
the bar wenches again.
But this is the first time anybody has viewed him in a non heroic light.
Okay, and then everything about this book, that's something you got with your guest appearance, right, Vic? So we wouldn't know.
Yes.
Gotcha.
If the hero of mortals is really such a danger, why do the gods not stop him?
Because, as I said, listen, it has already happened. Will happen.
That part would absolutely confuse you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, just to set the record straight then, how many unanswered questions are we at?
Oh, you mean the DM had to count?
I haven't been counting.
We're at 1 then, if nobody is counting.
Lols.
This is all just one long question.
Just yeah, this counts as one. I used and in commas.
Yeah.
No punctuation. You can't tell when it ends.
You've heard of a run-on sentence. This is a run-on question.
Alright, so in fairness, we'll say 3 because genies always give 3.
DM may have been counting.
Oh, okay. Is DM not going to tell us because DM has reasons?
Possibly. I gave the number 5, but does 5 really mean 5?
Well, apparently, time doesn't mean anything either.
So,
according to him.
well, again, like, what's your intelligence? I know you're a cleric, but
10.
So average intelligence, right?
Yeah.
Again, he keeps saying that it's already happened, but it hasn't happened yet. That's been a recurring thing that has been coming out of his mouth. So, I don't know. It has to do with past and future.
It makes it, to me, the player, sound like something cyclical.
Either that or some wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff.
Hmm?
I mean, we could just ask him if he'll be more direct with that answer, what exactly that means.
And he hasn't, although he's been cryptic, he's given you one answer that was like absolutely direct.
Yeah, very true.
It just hasn't happened yet. When
Okay.
when 5 becomes 6.
Okay, well, I know there was the talk about the clerisy. Are there any other than that pressing questions that we have as a... Not so much. For Phaley, did you have anything you've been wondering in your little goblin brain?
I have like exactly 1 marble. Do you think I have any questions?
This is a fair point.
Where did the other marbles go? That's the question.
She lost
They-
it.
Yeah, they went away when I decided I have an intelligence of 8.
Do blues taste the same as purples?
Hey, it's not dumb. It's just below average.
I feel like it's pretty standard for an 8-year-old, but, you know, who knows?
Well, I have a question if it's not gonna interfere with the rest of our group activity. The deities that are currently bound in Tantibus, are the keys to their release in mortal hands, or are they being held away from us?
Nagapa. They seek revenge. They seek revenge against her. The key to their release. Seek out the Lachey. Always hiding they are. Watching. Watching you. Watching the other circus ring.
Did that sound familiar to anyone out of character?
I believe we've heard mention of the Lachey once before, but I don't honestly remember where.
It's definitely familiar, but
Did the vampire say something about that?
Potentially. Let me check my notes.
Just because you reference that you take notes, you're getting an inspiration. In my IRL games, I give out little little tokens to my players, and every once in a while I'll have a quiz session, and I'll be like, what was such and such's name? And it'd be like an important NPC, and it'd be like, I don't know.
Azure is like the perfect D&D character.
I'm like,
Not character player.
Except I don't actually see mention of the Lachey in my notes.
They have been brought up a couple times.
Okay, well, I do not personally remember, but seeking out the Lachey is now on my list.
I have met a Lachey, but that was in another campaign, so that doesn't count.
Well, anyone else on the floor?
There's a couple of questions I can think to ask. The first is about the Mind Flayers and what their machinations are about. The second would be what he means by it has already happened, but it hasn't happened yet. And the third is whether the breaking of the archway would be a good thing or a bad thing.
Awesome. Pick one.
You may only have one.
We could also ask what the true purpose of being sent here was, too.
Yes,
We
but
could
I
also
imagine we
ask
could
what his
ask.
favorite color.
That's true.
That's true. But I imagine we could ask Lady Hitsune why we were sent here once we're gone, so that doesn't seem like something we need to ask him.
My vote would be for clarification on what he meant by has, but hasn't yet.
If we're stuck in a time loop, I want to know about it.
Groundhog Day. But instead of one day, it's like 40 years.
Or it's like Futurama, where the universe just resets itself every time it ends.
Just everything slightly to the left.
Yep.
You mean like comic books?
Pretty much.
Cartoon pages.
Still cartoons.
Final Crisis for real this time, guys.
Well, you feel free to do the ask and answer.
Alright, one final question. What is the airspeed of an unladen swallow? No.
I don't know that. African or European?
He doesn't know the answer to that question. But the answer is
then we
14.
have outwitted him.
all three of those were pretty
Yeah, I
good
feel like-
questions.
I feel like the one that we're least likely to find the answer to elsewhere is the what he meant by has happened but hasn't happened yet thing. So we'll go with that one.
It's difficult to explain, but I will do my best. In the beginning, you know the story of the kami, how they brought life to this world. At least to this part of the world. But that's a story for another matter. Life was grand. Elements left to their own, flourishing, dying, cyclical. But the heavens parted. First came the Great Impact. Heard the story, have you not, of the great celestial body slamming into Valoris?
Yes, no?
I believe the professor made mention of that to us, did he not?
The professor? That's a story for another time as well. I digress. It was no celestial parts that fell. It was the Golden Emperor. But incomplete he is. Missing a little bit. He knew it wouldn't be long. So he devised a bit of a trap, erecting 3 great Umvalas, shrines of his power, keeping himself at bay. He knew the rest of himself would join. And it has. Yet has not. Caught between the layers. It has. Part of those layers are tearing, ripping apart. When he arrived, you've heard the story, the great dwarven lords rising to meet their new god. That is partially true. Three great wards of power. Powered. Draconic. That power is now being released. As I said, it's difficult to explain.
So, sorry, are these relics in the cities meant to withhold the dragons, or are the Golden Emperor himself?
The Golden Emperor fears that part of him that already came, that has yet to come. He trapped it between the present and the past and the future. It is changing, for he banished the king's endemic. It is being amplified by their power. Soon you can ask them. They too will be joining the party.
This is supposed to be confusing.
Well, it is succeeding.
I'll try to explain it in non-cryptic bad guy voice, because that kills kills my voice. So what essentially here's what you guys would actually, let's do a group intelligence. Wow, Faley.
I contribute nothing.
Faley, you just... the way that he speaks, it's not like smart person speak. It's almost like he's painting pictures, and you're like whenever you see like mosaics and stuff, you might not truly understand, but you can at least get like the emotional impact that goes along with it. So when he speaks, it kind of makes sense for yourself. And let's see, Valderin, you get it because it's kind of rooted, we'll say, in kind of like theology and that sort of thing. Caspian, you rolled a Constitution check as well.
I'm having technical issues.
Oh, you're fine. Okay. Vic and Kaladin, for some reason it's over your head, but you're still going to get a baseline level of intelligence because I'm going to explain it en masse. So what you guys gather, the Golden Emperor came shortly after the gods, the kami in this case, kind of created the world and populated with some of the lesser deities like earth, wind, fire, all the spirits, gods that are gods but might not have names, they're like the druidic and pagan type gods that some people still worship. The Golden Emperor came, and within the story itself, it was said that he built, like, he witnessed this comet falling from the sky, and in the stories, it's always depicted as being a dragon. But apparently history didn't get that right. It was the Golden Emperor that fell, and the 3 cities that he erected were 3 monuments that he used to ward off a part of himself that is trapped in time. That part's a little wibbly wobbly, but apparently he used the dragons to amplify and build this magic spell, whatever he did. That part is like way above, like way beyond any sort of arcane knowledge that you guys would have, or even what's the best way to explain it? Dungeon Master would say it's magic, don't have to explain shit.
So he infused the life force of dragons to empower his spell.
Yes, to push a part of himself and trap it in some sort of temporal stasis that's caught between past and future.
It is a dedicated level of self-loathing. I'm impressed.
Or self-preservation, depending on why you did it.
Correct.
True.
So that's what you guys understand on a humanoid level.
On a tiny ant scale.
But again, is that 100% true? Because apparently all of the myths that you guys have grown up with is bullshit, or at least not accurate.
Yeah, that's generally how a myth goes.
It happened that way, just the details were wrong.
Which is actually more accurate than most myths.
Yeah.
True. That's neither here nor there. Mind blown?
A little bit.
Do we need to take...
Caspian's also just not particularly intelligent.
Yeah, I mean, to the average person, this is way above my pay grade. And this guy is telling us that we need to help protect the realm because the person who built the world, the most exonerated person that has ever existed, is actually a selfish, evil bastard.
One of these monuments has already been damaged now. It's not...
That is correct. So you would infer from that, again, part of that lock, that stasis, that trapped between the already happened and yet to happen, it's starting to creak out. He's alluded that some of the things that were used in the casting of this weren't consumed like a material component. So if that's true, they've been trapped there since the First Age. And by they, I mean dragons.
Ooh.
And I doubt they're very happy about it.
Very old and very angry dragons.
Yes. I don't think they're gonna burst out and be like, "What's up, my glip glops?"
Who's ready for a kegger? And they're gonna come out and be like, "Who's ready for lunch? It's on you."
So the thing that I want to drive home, things were going pretty good. Ever since that archway has been damaged, the world has literally gone to hell. I think you guys feel a little bit of that pressure.
So, if I followed you correctly, these pillars are indeed quite important. However, one has already been damaged. I know not if it's reversible or not.
Perhaps in time. The only one who could perchance share that knowledge has far since removed himself. He will not show himself unless the other two fall.
So the one here is currently a lost call, and that's why you want to send us to the far corners of this realm.
If it were only that simple, but yes. It must be preserved. I think you've heard a little bit of what's going on. Spoken to a Mitsukage, I believe.
That is the goddess's handler.
That is correct.
Didn't exchange abundant words with him, but we have met yet.
The foe that he seeks. If he he were to fall, balance in Tantibus would shift greatly, for one of the other great powers would be dealt a mortal blow. However, a pact that one has made, one that you have seen,
he dances a vision in your head.
beware the great mother's lover. And you thought his bastard son was vexing enough.
Now, I know this is above our allotted limit of questions, but it's something that escapes me that I believe is rather pertinent if we are to do as you ask. Why is protecting these sites so important? What happens if they fall?
Come with me.
He points to a side chamber, and let me... a room that you didn't notice before. Fix the stream real quick. As he starts moving around the room, you can see these books, these shelves just twist and turn out of his way, clearing a path, as well as a path for you all. As he moves over to this small antechamber, he waves his hand. The door parts.
Come inside. Assuming you want to know the future.
Well, bits and pieces, I suppose. Rather not spoil all of the fun.
I guess we will follow.
All right. In this room, you see a great stack of black tomes with silver binding. There is one book in the center of the back wall. It is kind of floating above a DS with a golden quilled pen scrying, though it doesn't seem to be writing as quickly as the other books in the previous room.
Difficult the future is to discern. But have a look. Know this. Looking upon this book, you cannot unsee.
Roll call. Who wants to look? Who doesn't?
Baldwin will take a glance at it.
Why not? If I'm allowed to.
I hear two.
Say, what was that?
I heard a yes from Boulder and a yes from Faley.
Okay,
Vic will ask, when you say that it cannot be unseen, do you mean that knowing the future makes it written in stone, or is it just a different thing?
The future is not complete yet. Not all react the same, knowing what may happen.
He's implying he doesn't know what's going to happen to you all. Not that it, by reading it, makes it true.
Okay. In that case, Vic will take the gamble and read it as well.
All right, heard 3 yeses, 4 with Caspian, and Kaladin?
Kidding?
I-
Or not?
Well, not.
Yeah, I actually think Caspian won't either.
Okay. So I'm going to divvy you guys up about who does and who doesn't. All right. As you 3 glance over this kind of novella, the pen has not been scribing just word, but picture as well. First, you see the scene of Tantibus. You see a sea of fire and smoldering ash. Next, you see a scene of, it looks like a forested kind of metropolis. It reminds you of Tantibus, but it's a little more nature-centric. Probably Dynast. Or at least what was Dynast. As you see a great crater has erupted underneath. You see the fires of hell just spewing forth. And you see a large, horned creature sitting atop a throne of bones. Next, you see what appears to be, or was, a great fortress caught between 2, like in a valley of a mountain. You can see, again, it's kind of large stone gates have been smashed to pieces. You see the bones of incredibly large individuals, giants, scattering about. You see kind of the green and black misty wisps just gnawing at the bones. You flip to one last page. You see snow in kind of like a circular fashion, though the dead epicenter, you see almost like a botanical paradise. You see a man in golden armor, sword through where the heart would be. Holding the sword, you see a man in golden armor. All right. This is where the fun part happens. Those who did not look on the book, who had the wisdom to not tamper with their own fate, you get a +1 wisdom bonus to your ability scores. Those who looked at the book, who lacked the wisdom, but has now gained insight, knowledge, intelligence, your intelligence goes up by 1. This is a permanent effect.
Oof.
Interesting.
Also, we'll deal with this after session, but with the sudden influx of not just the knowledge that this character has shared, but the knowledge of this book, the knowledge of the kami, all of your steps getting to this point, I think that's level 9.
Also, just to be clear, in that last image, there were 2 people in golden armor, one being stabbed, one doing the stabbing.
That is correct.
I have a feeling I understood that.
Perhaps. It seemed very thematic. You can, of course, share this knowledge with your companions. They won't truly understand it to the depths that you guys will. But nonetheless, out of curiosity, did that bump anybody up a tier? Their wisdom or
It
their...
did for me.
Nice.
Nope.
But there are always some nice feats for both of those. To pick up the other one and still pick up bonuses.
True.
All right, so I know that's a lot to take in. You can, I don't think leveling up now would make a difference here or there, though I would prefer that we do it out of, or we'll probably do it at the end of session or between. But let's take like a 10-minute break or so to clear our heads, and then if we have any follow-up questions, we'll go over that, because this was a lot of heavy lore dump.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
All right, we'll
refill my drink.
Yep, we'll see you guys in about 10 minutes. Welcome back.
Eh,
I have traded soda for beer.
Nice. I'll try a little bit harder and see if we can get it to whiskey.
I think I've got some somewhere in a cabinet.
Don't get too big for your britches there, Alfred.
I know. I'm not very good with whiskey. But I think you guys realize now I can make this campaign go forever.
Literally forever, backwards and forwards.
Worry not. You'll learn more about it as we progress along.
Oh, I meant to ask. You mentioned in one of the visions a horned creature sitting atop a throne of skulls. Did that look anything like the creature that we see the icon of down there?
It was implied.
Gotcha.
And I don't know if you caught all the references. That person is apparently, he was referred to as the lover and the father.
And we know who the bastard son is.
Yes. Oh, and
I
also
think.
that he created a pact. That part I'm not quite sure if you guys caught.
Yeah, I wasn't sure the meaning of it, but I did catch that.
And they are literally all related is not the appropriate word, though it kind of is, because they are literally related in some aspects. But everyone involved that was mentioned has recently been involved, like right before you guys came in.
Related means different things to gods. Not quite the same as blood relations with humanoids.
True.
Though that doesn't stop them.
Also true.
No. Yeah, you although you don't know a name or what this guy's about, but you know the lover to presumably the mother. And you know their bastard child, Kosui, of course. But he said that this, I don't know. We need a term to call him. What would you guys call him?
Who, Kosui?
No, not Kosui. This guy with the horns.
Oh.
He needs a moniker.
Horns?
Horns. Okay, well, from now on we refer to him as Horns.
Call him horny bastard.
Uncle
He's not a
Sunshine.
bastard.
So he apparently is, well, do we have any warlocks? I don't think we do.
Not in this group,
Yeah.
no.
But apparently he has forged a pact with someone, and not in the way that a warlock, like, he's not the warlock in this instance, I guess is the way to say it.
He's the patron.
Correct.
Well,
And that's not Dagon that we know that.
This is not Dagon that you believe. At least you don't get that kind of sea sort of Kraken-y vibe.
I just know he's also out there making packs.
literally the world is collapsing. Like your characters would absolutely feel that. It's like every day is a little worse than the day before. But it can't be that way forever, right?
You'd hope.
I mean, eventually the credits rolled on Empire Strikes Back. I think we're all here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so had about 10 minutes to kind of clear our minds here. Let's think happy thoughts. What's a good happy thought? Music. Close enough. All right, so you've heard about the machinations of gods, men, dragons. I'm sure that you guys have some questions. If you want to ask them, I will do my best to explain them in a way that your character would know.
Do I get the impression that the final scene that we saw with the guy in gold armor stabbing the guy in gold armor, was that the both versions of the Golden Emperor stabbing?
So oftentimes he referred to has happened, has yet to happen. And he referred to, again, when this being came down, he was incomplete, but part of him came down before, yet it hasn't fallen yet. So again, it's always referring into that kind of duality. So yes, you would get that same sense. That's a great question.
I get the impression that were anybody, Maldark or the Nagpa, to use the Primer of the Fallen first to re-summon the celestial body falling from the sky, would that basically accomplish the same thing as destroying 3 cities by bringing the 2 parts together?
So you don't know without looking at it itself, or perhaps probing a little more. You don't think that this guy's going to give you much more information, at least not yet. But so the word primer often has a kind of connotation of itself. You don't necessarily think that it would be... You don't think that this person here would be the collector of a spell book. You would more in line think of it would be a tome of knowledge about what truly happened or what is about to happen, again with that kind of duality. But it's more of a record than an actual summoning.
So it wouldn't contain like the details of how it happened. It would just discuss what happened.
Now, I would think that you, or your character, would believe that yes, it would have some more in-depth knowledge. Like maybe a first-hand account, correct. But again, with that sort of knowledge, if someone were so inclined, they could use that knowledge for very ill gains. Obviously, they could speed up doom and destruction. A sane person wouldn't do that. But you guys don't often deal with sane individuals.
Or ever.
Basically.
Pretty much. The being that was sitting on the pile of bones, is that the same being as Horny Bastard down there?
You would be alluded to that, yes. So essentially, at the 3 different locations, you got a different sense. At Tantibus, you got a sense that it was razed, burnt asunder. So I'll let you draw your own conclusions with that based off of childhood stories. The other place, again, that throne of bones, again, the earth had ripped open and the fires of hell kind of unleashed itself upon that kingdom, decimating it. With a horned individual sitting atop the dead, the throne of dead. In what you thought was Kabuto, again, like a fortress. Nobody from here is from Kabuto, correct? I think it's just
Correct.
the other campaign. Yeah. So, the bard would probably have some basic knowledge. So, the Dwarven Kingdom, it's mostly dwarves, but their theology is way different from, well, just about anywhere else. They are under the protection and love of the giant folk. The giant folk almost treat them as though they're children, but in a sheep, like in a way that in a biblical sense, I guess would be the best way to describe that. And you saw the fallen corpses of these gods essentially being devoured by some strange wisp like evil creatures, you assume. And the kingdom just shattered, torn asunder. Ed, go ahead.
So, we were after the Nagpa, but he seemed to say, correct me if I'm wrong, that the Nagpa were only like part of this problem. They're not the major player.
So he kind of played up their scavenger side. He alluded that, yes, they've got their hands in a lot of things, but they're not the direct cause of a lot of it. They're swinging things to their own ambition. So they are a problem, just they aren't the problem.
Right, it's like their end goal isn't this whole Golden Emperor thing, it's just their revenge plot.
Essentially, yeah.
So it would be safe to assume that they aren't the ones plotting the destruction of the, I guess, archways in the other two cities.
It doesn't seem so, although if it could bring them closer to their goal, you would not put that past them.
So there's a possibility that there's other forces unknown to us that are, I guess, opposite of our own intention.
Mm-hmm. Or again,
This-
it could have just been happenstance. You know, you don't think that they know. Well, maybe now you do. I don't know where you guys stand. Do you guys think that the Nagpa knew about the Golden Emperor? Knew what apparently is the true story?
I don't think they would honestly care. I think they might be a little too blinded in their own revenge.
I think there's
I
an
don't know if they-
interesting...
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, I think there's kind of a parallel between them and us right now of we're just kind of getting our revenge against them for personal reasons, but that's leading us into bigger plot.
That's certainly true. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if they necessarily knew originally, although they have been alive for a very long time, but certainly after coming here and the books that they have presumably found and read, they probably are a little more aware of things.
So you guys would presume this is how I would look at it with that knowledge. They either knew about it and they absolutely swung it to their advantage, or they just kind of backed their ass right into it unknowing. Oops.
Yeah, and that brings me to something I was going to ask, which was from the way that he described the Nagpa, and this is probably a bit of a reach, so you can just tell me I don't know.
Mhm.
But would I get any kind of inference that there's another group that's pulling their strings, saying, you know, like, this would be a good way to get your revenge on the Raven Queen, when, you know, it's actually feeding into their goals too?
None has been alluded to. That doesn't mean that's true, but none has been alluded to.
Okay.
Good question, though. Agitated skeleton shriek. All right. Now that I've confused the piss out of everybody, any more questions? Oops. All right.
So, did we or have we not like gone completely off track for actually helping the goddess?
We will deal with that as the conclusion of this when we move on. I will answer that question.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, sorry, were there any others?
I think I'm good.
All right, so as you guys look over the book, gain a little bit of knowledge in yourself, he will reply, just kind of looking at your faces.
You think this was all for naught? A test? You think she sent you here to prove yourselves? The answer is yes, but she did not lead you astray. What you seek, you have already found. Don't think for a second I don't see the sad faces you hide, try to mask on seeing your old fallen comrade. You were sent here to gather something for her. Not Mother. Her name is Zendra. Zendra Stool. She is destined for greatness. A great, tragic life she has lived. Though she not know it yet, her role may yet prove pivotal in a great battle to come. Trust in her. Trust in the other circus ring. You will need each other to survive the night.
And with that, he opens up the last passageway. And just another antechamber down here to the south. Inside, you will find one thing. Sobe's weapon, just kind of hovering there in the center of the room.
Hadn't I taken it, or was that
You did.
actually not his?
You still have it.
Huh.
He sees your confusion.
For what is to come, and for what has already happened.
So then are these the same weapon existing at two different points in time?
That is correct. A great power.
presumably you picked up the other weapon.
Yes.
As you hold both of them and he's speaking, they start to kind of resonate within your hand. Just a small singular item will appear. It is in the shape of a very small, like keychain size sword.
And then is this for Zendra?
It is for all of Tantibus. For the Great One stirs. Do not look towards the sky. For the sun, the moon, shall all be blotted out by his greatness.
I imagine Cassian would have like the puffy, pouty cheeks at that.
All right. Did you guys have any other business here? You've essentially completed the task.
Cry a little bit.
It'll be all okay.
I guess it is time that we take our leave then, friends.
Oh, it has been quite a exhausting journey. I feel the rest is in order.
I have the sneaking suspicion we're going to leave this place and find we've been, quote-unquote, resting the entire time.
Not a very restful rest then.
Can I just say that a few weeks ago I was a circus performer?
Still are.
This is very much above my pay grade.
When was the last time we put on a good show, though?
Well, might as well make this a colorful finale, he'll say as he pulls out his firework.
All right. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity.
Just
It
as a
goes
side
choking again.
note, just as a side note, Vic has never looked more badass holding on to two two-handed weapons.
Now you got a tiny little Swiss Army nut.
The toothpick, it shall be dubbed.
Oh. All right, so I imagine at this point you guys are going to teleport back to your bodies. Yes?
Aye.
All right. So, the last thing that you remember is kind of that snap pop, the spark that kind of shot out and a little bit of smoke. Your eyes are a little bit hazy, a little bit heavy. The kind of the morning gunk is sticking to the bottom of your eyelids. It's difficult to kind of pry them open. But once you do, you're seated back within the manor. You see that beautiful face looking down at you. Were you successful?
Well, we certainly succeeded in doing something.
I was getting worried. It has been several minutes.
Well then.
Vic, dear, do you have our prize?
I will, I guess, open my hand and see if it's still there.
So as you go to open your hand, you realize that your hand is not fully closed, for within it is a very fine, platinum white colored scabbard. It seems to be immaculately handcrafted. You can feel the majesty, the magic flowing through the scabbard. You can only imagine what the sword looks like. It is a long sword.
Well, I suppose this is the prize then. I think.
Where's the blade?
It's in the scabbard.
Oh, it's in the scabbard? Okay. Never mind.
I will dramatically draw it forth.
All right. So you've heard stories about how enchanted weapons can sometimes have a faint glow to them, or maybe catch fire. You pull this out. You don't see metal. You see a blinding beam of white. It's not a lightsaber. The blade itself glows this immaculate white color.
Certainly a sword worthy a champion if I ever saw one.
A champion we need. But not just one, many.
Do you trust the keeper of that place?
Did he tell you the truth?
Well, that's hard to say, isn't it?
What do you believe?
We learned much that was in our best interest, I think, and some that perhaps was not.
We all have a dark past. A past that we're trying to make right. I'm sure he told you of my former love.
That he did.
Maybe even caught a glimpse.
I've sent someone very special to me to help slow his progress while I deal with minions here.
This person you sent, I suppose you sent them to Dynast?
That is correct. Mitsukage. He will do well in subverting. Can you do me one favor?
And what will that be, my lady?
If you see my son, please do not lead him to his father.
Which
Very well.
Meta pigeon, which son?
Kosui.
Okay, gotcha.
So
The black sheep.
it's been heavily alluded here. So let me go through the theology just real quick. You got Izanami Izanagi. They had basically a bastard child. She didn't turn out the way that she was supposed to because they didn't follow the proper etiquette. So they discarded the child and tried again. During that, they basically created all of life here on Valoris. This is something that that Valorians just know, although it's taboo here in this city. During that, when she gave birth to fire, she was horrifically burnt and scarred. She basically went to the equivalent of Hades, Yomi. And here's where the pertinent part of the story comes in. She had a fight with her husband. He left. She sent her armies after him. But she found another love. And with the fruit of that love, Kosui was born. Kosui hates his half-brothers and sisters, Tsukiyomi, Amaterasu, and Susanoo, because they do not, what's the best word? Not respect. They don't admit to the existence of their older sister. Now, their older sister is the Raven Queen. As you can see, family fucks everything up.
Yep. Especially when you have a sister complex.
That he does.
So I know he's like the illegitimate one, but he's also like not. He's only half related to the other deities.
He's a demigod.
But okay, so hold on, because
Yeah, he's
the
half.
Raven Queen. The Raven Queen is full-blooded related to the other three. She's just not pure.
Correct.
Okay.
I need to do some major write-ups. Post them. I have it on my to-do list. But something Final Fantasy.
So all the other children are same mom and dad. Kosui, different dad.
Yes.
Therefore, he's very much different. Raven Queen, very much different because she was in a non-correct way.
Correct. She is unsanctified,
So
unholy.
both of them are outcasts because of that.
But so it just, I know he's a bastard, but is Kosui also unsanctified in the same way?
That's a tough one.
Because I thought he was basically the same as his sister, just half related to her.
In some ways, and in some ways not. No one knew about this, the details of the relationship between these two individuals.
Oh yeah.
That's lewd.
Oh my.
Well, at least now we know, by official canon, by those actions, that she's a top.
Heard it here first, folks.
As long as she doesn't say "ada ada," I'm fine.
Cold sweat. Whew.
Oh no, this watch seems to be stuck to my belt. So back to the story. Yes, I've sent Mitsukage to try to subvert his actions. I feel he is going to try to take advantage of the situation. The Gekido clan, Hell's Cradle.
Well, now that we have this weapon, is it possible that we could awaken, what's her name, Zindra, to your god?
Yes. We're just waiting for... And she kind of sits back a little bit and kind of grabs her chin, waiting for the opportune moment. Did the Keeper speak of what is to come?
Not only speak, but some of us saw it for ourselves.
So you know.
Aye, the destruction that will take part is beyond what we could imagine.
No. We have to prevent it. I can hear the scratching at the surface. It shan't be long now.
So the ward here is about to shatter.
Unfortunately, it shattered about 2 weeks ago. But time has been on our side, afforded us a little luxury in preparation. But
Is there nothing we can do yet to save this city? Is it doomed to this cold evil for as long as it yet remains?
poor Ensetsu. She tries to help, yet only make matters worse. If things are not corrected soon, she has the power to level this city. To take all of these poor souls, pull them with her.
Perhaps you may enlighten me on something that may help us save Tantibus. Would you know of, and I will attempt to describe as best I can, the jewel that I had been shown a vision of by the priests?
Jewel that you were shown by the priests. Dealing with your background? That jewel?
Yes. That jewel.
She kind of puts her hand, she doesn't facepalm, but she puts like her center finger just above her eyelash on her left side. He is not joined with us yet. The third to come, if I'm not mistaken. Curious. Was this tale passed down amongst your people?
Apparently so, but not directly to me. It was something I saw back there.
I see. We shall get to that, but first... the first to come. Ashardal. Anybody heard that name before?
Negatory on that, Ghost Rider.
Does not ring a bell to me either.
Awesome. I figured it would be maybe you, Moon, or Rin. There have been many tales of Ashardalon. They say he is nigh invincible, invulnerable. They said what was once he was struck a mortal blow. He replaced that gaping hole of a heart with a Baylor. Anybody familiar with Baylors?
I am familiar with those.
Yes. soon. She kind of stares at the tea. She reaches down to grab, to pour, and kind of sees the expression on all your faces. No, not that sort of tea. She reaches down, and all of a sudden, the dish starts to kind of rattle there on the table. The vibrations kind of carry throughout the room. All of your cups start dancing amongst the table, skittering towards the edge, and then crash. Outside you hear a tumultuous roar, a bestial sound that you have never heard the like of. It rattles, it shakes the very paint, the plaster on the walls. The flooring starts to creak under its massive tone. What do you do?
Are there
Welcoming
windows in this
party.
room?
There are not.
Were we to be expecting a welcome back present, my lady?
No, this is too soon. You can see her kind of, she's got both of her fingers there on her temples. This is far too soon. You must do what you can. Gather every capable man, woman, and child in the city. We must defend it. She gets up, starts to walk out of the room. You can see her stop, turn her face to the left. Within a few seconds, she moves her body to the right and down the hallway. A few moments pass, and you see a familiar individual. Let me get a token. Here we go. He pokes his head in. Would somebody like to tell me what the is going on here?
The return of the kings of old, apparently.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Terrible things are about to come. You should get everybody that you know who is fine with a blade.
He looks down his nose at you. How dare you tell me what to do? He cocks his head to the left, the direction that the woman walked off. And you can see the steel of his face start to change. His jaw slowly starts to droop down until it is fully gaped open. By the gods!
Are you ready to listen now?
It seems his attention is completely on whatever he is looking at. He's not looking in the room where you guys are. Perhaps he's looking out a large window.
I'll walk over and just like snap my fingers in front of his face.
Awesome. I need you to make me a saving throw. 1 second.
Is there a map that I should be seeing?
Oh, just the same one. I'll pop it open again for you. I don't have a map of the interior of that room.
Okay, sorry. So this is the...
Many apologies. Unidentified map? might
No,
say
sorry.
hand-drawn map.
The person is not the constable. That's the economic guild person.
That is Decount. My mind just went blank. 2 seconds.
Was it Vasily?
Vasily, thank you. I was like, Vatili? That's not right. I have dragon on the brain. Oh, did I say dragon?
It's her sugar daddy, though.
Yes, at least.
The man with the fancy boots.
I'll put it up here to count. Vasily. Spelled it like a damn. There we go. He's just slack-jawed. Sorry, I got distracted again. Give me 2 seconds. And ability. Wisdom saving throw. Roll well.
Okay. Not well.
You have never seen. Okay, so you've seen a lot of stuff. You've witnessed the Nagpa. You've witnessed Disintegration Ray. You've seen terrors, rapists, murderers, thieves, things that would make people blush. Never before in your life have you been this afraid. As you see the largest.
Use one of my inspirations?
Yeah, you absolutely can.
Go ahead and do that, because I feel like it could be very interesting
problem.
narratively
Like
if I do succeed at this.
Roll very well.
It's shot number 2.
May the gods be with you.
Not much better.
Yeah. You have never seen. You can see exactly why the Decount is standing here speechless. This creature, it doesn't inspire awe. It demands it. You've never seen anything quite this large. And for those who aren't staring out the window, we're describing the dragon.
Okay, so there is a window.
There is a window, yeah.
In the hallway.
Just in the hallway.
We're not in the room.
Yeah, I'll do a little peep eye over there.
Okay. You lay eyes on it. You're going to have to make me a save as well. Unfortunately, even a 17. Did you add your +1?
My
I don't know.
+1.
Did it go up?
No, I'm at an 11.
Oh, I gotcha. So, even with that, you're still absolutely horrified, terrified of this creature. I can maybe even put a token down if I can find one. The Decount, after a few moments, is going to say, I don't know who you are. Not exactly. Take my wagon. Go. Again, he's just very exasperated at this. You can't imagine even having the ability to really speak after seeing something like this. Go seek the Order of the Eye. Bertram. Shalsaxio. Get everyone! And he storms back the opposite way of the hallway.
Yes, well, we might have to go sound the alarms then.
Oh, this picture sucks. I'm not using it. All right, so the Decount has essentially told you guys, whether or not you want to or not, but to seek out the Order of the Eye, a man named Bertram, and Xiao Saxio.
Can't imagine the Eye is too happy with it.
Why should they be upset with us?
Didn't they send us here for a certain reason?
Yeah, but they were the ones being misled.
Aye, but do they know that?
Well, I guess we'll have to tell them now, won't we?
We don't really have any proof either.
Yeah.
Well,
So
you have the Count's word. Does that mean anything?
Can we, just for clarity's sake, there's just a big ass dragon outside.
Yeah. So it's outside your view. It is in the distance, but again, it's huge. You never thought any creature could be this big. Like when you saw that giant kind of storming around the city, 20, 25 foot. I mean, that's a big boy, right? He doesn't hold a candle to the size of this creature. It looks like the size of a frickin' manor. You couldn't even begin to estimate how large it was.
Is it just like in this city? Did it come up from beneath the ground? Did it land?
You don't know, and you don't want to get any closer to find out because of dragon fear.
I just wasn't sure if like the ground was shattering and these things were coming up from beneath the earth or something.
You don't know about things, but there's this thing in singular.
Well, we have possibly an objective. Certainly the alarm needs to be raised, and if we can somehow arrange for non-combative citizens to find a place of safety, preferably not beneath the clerisy.
Caspian is taking out the message book that they got from Kiev. Wow.
Okay.
It's gonna do 2 rapid fire notes. One of them is gonna go ahead of them to Kiev and basically relay the Count's order.
Duly noted.
The other one is to Makoto and his group, and basically will equate to where the fuck are you? We need you right now.
Exactly. No, duly noted. I know where they're at.
Do we know the specific mechanics of how these notes work?
Just that you send a message and they has typically worked, though for a time it wasn't working. That it would just
so would
magically find its way to the party.
Okay. Will we know then if you need to know the person beforehand, or can you just like know the name and send it?
Well, I think Caspian can answer that.
Yeah, I just sent one without having met the person.
Yes.
Then perhaps we should send a letter to Zendra Stool. It seems the time has come a bit early.
I'm mixing my knowledge of the other group. Do I know Zendra Stool and her relationship with the other?
You know that they're at House's Stool.
Okay, I don't know. I could include that in the letter to them and ask about. Or we could write another one, sure, just tear off all my receipt books.
Well, not that I don't commiserate, but it seems time is of the essence.
All right, so what would you like to do?
So yeah, letter to Kiev,
Mhm.
letter to the group, and then yeah, at Vic's urging, we'll do a little note to Zendra and basically tell her we got her sword.
All right, so I'll let you guys craft those out. Obviously, we can't deal with the Makoto group or Zendra's reply, but are you guys going to visit Kiev? You said you were going to send it ahead.
That was my intention. If the group's not got other ideas.
Sounds like a solid plan to me.
He's
We
the only
are
one
still
I
in
know.
the Noble District, right?
That is correct.
I suspect there's probably already a lot of chaos, but if we could try to find Anton in the midst of this, I think he could prove helpful in organizing the city.
Okay. So we're gonna deal with a few things here in succession as you guys move through. As you guys move out of this place, out of this manor, you can see the creatures just kind of flying over the city. And I did post a reasonable picture within Discord if you want to check that out.
That's sufficiently terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, the stories did not give it justice. When he said, what was the term he used? Endemic? Kings? You have no doubt in your mind now that this is the apex predator, the original ruler of the lands. If there are more of these things, that has to be absolutely terrifying. Just by looking at it alone is enough to drive fear straight to the heart of man, woman, child. But as you guys bolster yourselves the best that you can, as this creature is kind of looming, flying above the city, you can hear the armaments of war being prepared, the soldiers getting ready. You can see that they're prepping cannons to fire. If Anton is here, it's going to take a lot of your effort to break away and search for him. So that's a decision that you'll have to make.
I think what I'll try to do is, just as a middle ground, hopeful, is just try to find somebody that looks of a high enough rank that they could get a message across and just relay that the Arch needs to be protected at all costs, or more will come out very quickly.
Okay. He kind of looks at you. Let's see if he understands. We'll roll it open. He seems a little confused. I don't understand. It's already destroyed.
There is still magic in it. If it is kept together, it can hold them off a little bit longer.
If you could make me some sort of persuasion roll. There.
Okay.
Nice roll. So you go about and in a very efficient manner explain to him why it's important, who it needs to go to, and the urgency therein. He doesn't understand why, but he's complying with your orders, so to speak. And he kind of rushes off and tries to spread the word the best that he can. And let's do this. So you guys are on your way. You will make it to Kiev's shop. And I'm going to share another map just so we have a place to put tokens. As soon as you enter in. What did the message to Kiev say?
I imagine it basically just very frantically relayed the Count's orders and that we were coming. You're the only one we know that could help us contact the Order of the Eye, kind of.
Friends, slow down. I've heard that terrible sound. Is it truly fucking dragon? Tell me.
Go ahead.
Oh, never.
I don't normally do this, but stand back.
You can see him kind of reach underneath the counter there, and he'll grab a few things. And he grabs a small little stone, and he kind of throws it over the counter between you and him, and a small, think of it like a diagram kind of appears, arcane sigils, that sort of thing, like a crafting circle. I don't know the best way to, like an arcane circle appears.
Vasily told you this? I'm gonna need you to back me up on this, okay? Follow me.
You have our word. He was quite insistent on the matter.
Yes. Let us hope that things go according to plan.
You guys step into the portal. The magics take hold. When you come to, you're not exactly sure where you are. Some sort of warehouse. You can see all sorts of ne'er-do-wells kind of moving about. They kind of check you, but they see that Kiev is with you. As you guys approach, a gentleman will meet you there. This man is hideously ugly. Is he a half-orc? No, not quite sure. He probably has some bullywug in him somewhere. No half-orc is even that ugly. He kind of walks up to you all, nods to Kiev.
What's your business here?
Business is telling everyone that needs to know about the Red Death that is barreling down on Tantibus.
You can trust them. Bertram, Vasily gave the order.
Kiev helps to back you up.
Go on, tell him, Caspian.
The Count, in his infallible wisdom, wanted everyone that could possibly help with this to rally and not let the city be destroyed.
What do we care if the city's destroyed? We'll just loot it afterwards.
Kiev says,
Come on, you cannot be that dense. Let us through, we will ask the boss. The boss, he's busy. Fine, it's your desk. Go ahead.
he leads you to kind of a back room. Everyone that was kind of scattering about, a bunch of rogues and thieves, that sort of thing. Maybe even a few people that you may recognize, Killinan. They kind of watch in awe as you guys head to the back room. Apparently it is not used much.
Go through there. If you live, maybe we'll help you.
Everybody step inside.
Caspian will hold Phaley's hand.
Thanks.
Okay. As you guys step through, a couple of things that you notice. You see a large curtain kind of closing off one of the walls. The room is almost completely empty, save for a few torches kind of encircling the room. In the center of the room, you see what appears to be a plush couch. But the couch is far too small, even for a halfling. Sitting upon this pinkish, purplish couch, this plush couch, you see a small golden and white striped cat.
Sonny, is that you?
It would look a lot like your IRL cat, yeah. That tabby cat looking.
I knew he was the BBEG of this game.
It's always a cat, except when it's a corgi.
You hear Kiev. Shalsaxio? We bring word from Vasily. He says to gather everyone. We have to fight. Seated on this plush couch, the cat, kind of looks up at you and just licking its paws. It just stares at you. Kiev moves forward. Shalsaxio! Damn it! We have to do something! What do you all do?
If I can get a quick catch up on what's going on.
You met a bullywug, ugly-looking mother trucker. You should see the face there. I shared the...
Yeah.
He seemed to be Bertram. He said is basically it's your guys' lives if you want to speak to Shalsaxio. He's led you back to this room. Large curtain there in the background. Kind of the candles or the these what would you call them? Floor sconces? Where it's just like a pole sticking up with torches, but they're not attached to a wall.
Oh, like a brazier.
Thank you.
Or brazier, rather. Brazier.
Brazzers.com. Are kind of encircling this room, adding just a little bit of illumination. In the center, that very small plush couch, kind of pinks and royal purples, as this kind of golden white striped cat licks its paws. Kiev is beseeching to Shalsaxio. What are you guys doing?
Is he beseeching to the cat? Is that the impression we get? Or is there something we're not seeing?
What do you think?
Was he facing the cat?
Yeah, of course.
So we've seen stranger things today than a talking cat.
I don't know what's going on, but I will go ahead and attempt to dispel magic on the cat.
Okay.
Oh, you're dead.
Very quickly, you're going to realize that your spell just does not work. This room, you quickly realize that it has been warded. But that's not what concerns you. You hear the kind of ticking and clanking, the
What is it that you want?
you hear from behind the curtain.
If Tantibus has any hope of being anything except fireward by tomorrow, then we're gonna need to do everything we can to stop that monster outside.
You want a monster? I'll show you a monster.
Stepping ever so slightly from behind the corner, you see what appears to be like a crab's claw, but it's not kind of that red or chitinous material. It is a bronzy gold. Coming out the backside, you don't see kind of that meaty, again, chitinous sort of material. You see what appears to be banded metal. You see a light shine through the curtain. And as it pulls through in its full majesty,
I will show you evil.
this metal monstrosity that is before you. It's roughly 30 foot in diameter. That's the main portion. You imagine the extensions, its arms reach much farther.
Explain to me why I don't kill you right now.
Well, you like living, don't you?
You hear a thump sound. You look over. Kiev is no longer vertical. He has just passed out.
Well, good sir, I don't know why you'd have to go to the trouble. We're probably gonna die in a few minutes anyway to the dragon outside.
Perhaps. Why should I help you?
You don't have to help us, you just have to help the city.
It starts to kind of wheel over on its one center kind of wheel over towards where that couch is. With its left pincer claw, it extends it down, and the cat just kind of hops up on top as it brings that cat close to its photo receptor, and with its other kind of tendrily claw just starts to pet it.
If everyone dies, so be it.
You see its eyes blink.
What's that? Are you mad? Fine. What's wrong? Gather troops. Bring much of glory.
Thank you, cat.
It hops down and just kind of trots over. You know how that kind of, that look that cats have? They know that they're better than you, as it's got its kind of nose up in the air and just kind of trotting over. It looks at you, Phaley. Sticks up its nose, kind of does that turn where it lifts its tail up and kind of scratches its feet on the floor and moves back over to the plush couch.
Phaley, that one's not food.
Are you sure? It's acting like it wants to be food.
They all do that.
This wheeled monstrosity wheels itself back behind the curtain. The door behind you swings open wide. You can see Bertram just staring at you all.
Seems we go to war.
Then it seems like our chances aren't completely none.
We're all gonna die, you know that, right?
Well, if the stories are true, it's best we try not to kill it, but rather just to stall it, delay it, or move it. It can't be killed. At least not by mortal means.
I don't know, but we can't fight it when it's in the air. I hope you've got a good plan.
The plan is a work in progress.
That may be. But I can tell you one thing for certain.